Beverly Hills.
I'm going to be talking a little bit in code today because if you watch my channel and you watch my live, yes.
Is the plane going down? Are we gonna die? Why are you saying I'm sorry?
Hi guys, welcome to my live today. I ordered a Beverly Beach hat from Dorit Kensley and I got it in, and so I am rocking my hat today, and we're gonna be talking Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, and we're gonna be talking Real Housewives of New Jersey. So I hope that you guys are ready to talk some housewives today. There's a lot going on in the press as it pertains to Kyle and Mauricio, and we're kind of getting her asking for privacy at this time, and it's a little confusing because we know that Kyle and Mauricio have really lived their life in the spotlight, if you will, for I don't know, a long time now, right? And it's kind of difficult to come out. She made a statement on Instagram, and she again asked for privacy during this time. So I don't know. I mean, it's hard to give her privacy. I'm definitely not going to be creating any crazy narratives for her, but we have to talk about it. I want to know what your guys' thoughts are, so make sure that you comment. I think there are a lot of people rooting for Mauricio and Kyle. I just think that unfortunately, there's so much there. There's so much history. It's going to have people talking because there's a lot to talk about, right? We have Mauricio. We have a lot of cheating rumors around Mauricio for years and years, guys. People are pulling DMs because back in the day when he would be out and about, I think that when the men used to cheat, like before social media was like really big, they were a little bit more public about it, if that makes sense. If you guys remember Married to Medicine, Dr. Jackie's husband cheated. He was like getting on a flight with a girl and going to Hawaii. So I think they were just a little bit more open about it. And so other women and friends of who have been with Mauricio allegedly will sometimes reach out to different bloggers, different stan accounts, and DM them and let them know that he was hooking up with their friend or their coworker's friend. Or there was actually one DM about a gentleman who was hooking up with Aunt Kyle, or Paris Hilton's Aunt Kyle, in New York years and years ago, before anyone knew who Kyle was, before she was even on the show. And allegedly she would call him every time she was in New York. So that's crazy. If they've been living an open marriage for that long, that means there's a lot of people out there that have probably been with them. So what do you guys think of the hat? I'm gonna put my sunglasses on. Maybe I feel like very detective-ish kind of with my hat and my sunglasses. I just did a TikTok like this. I like the hat. It's a little, I'm not sure if I'm like not, if I have it smushed down too much, if it's supposed to be more like this. It could just be the angle that's not very great. So you guys aren't really getting the full Beverly Beach effect. Maybe I should do it sideways. Nope. Anyway, guys, let's get back to the subject at hand. Oh, thank you so much, Catherine. You're so sweet. Do you believe that Kyle is So I don't think that, we should be speculating on anyone's like sexuality because it's 2023. So we are awake now, right? I think that Kyle is open to loving beautiful people. And I think that if that comes in the form, I think that when you get a little bit older in life, or a little bit more weathered, or a little bit more experienced, or maybe you're an old soul, okay, you start to look for different qualities. Like how you loved in your 20s is not how you're going to love in your 30s or your 40s or your 50s. And hopefully your partner grows with you, and hopefully like you're growing, but sometimes you don't. And I think that Morgan probably makes Kyle feel very youthful because she's very young, right? And she's very creative, and she's a musician. And so that probably woke up a lot of things for Kyle. If you guys remember on this season of The Real Housewives of Atlanta, Kenya was talking about her divorce from Mark and how she was like dating someone now. And he's very good looking, and how he awoke parts in her she didn't even know needed awakening, honey. Okay, like she didn't even know that was there. So and she's almost, if she isn't 50, she's on her way to being 50, beautiful, rich, famous, experienced in Hollywood, the whole thing. So I think that at any time in your life you could meet someone, and if you invest, you might have some sort of an emotional thing with them, right? We know this only because, guys, there is the ex-girlfriend, so no one's really factoring in. There's one girl on TikTok, she's the one, she's got all the receipts. I'm gonna have to get her name and put it in the comments to give her credit, because she surely is doing all of the work. So Kyle is allegedly seeing this girl, Morgan, right? But Morgan has an ex-girlfriend, and Morgan has a broken hearted ex-girlfriend. Morgan doesn't have a girlfriend that wanted to date other people and separate. Morgan has an ex-girlfriend that's like, you broke my heart, crocodile tears, I'm posting it on TikTok. Have a great day. So back in April, Morgan performed in LA, and the ex-girlfriend went on TikTok because she wanted to go see Morgan, because she obviously still really, loves her. And Yo-Yo, are you referring to Face Reality 16 on EG? I might be. It's a blonde-haired girl. She's been doing TikToks. I don't think she's on Instagram, but they've been taking her TikToks to Instagram because they're so informative. And another thing, guys, like, this is a thing that made me mad about, like, New Jersey and everyone being so appalled about the private investigator. Like, do they not know who the F we are? We are private investigators to the 10th power. Every content creator has lots of people that help them dig and find things and research and find anything you want. Literally, if it's on the internet, guess what? If I don't find it and my people, somebody else's people will. Because everyone that watches Bravo, almost everyone, they love to dig. And some people are really, really good at it, right? They don't need a degree. They don't have to be called a private investigator. They will find it. So it's like ridiculous to get upset about private investigators when you're in the public eye. Just like, it's kind of ridiculous to be like, please give us a bunch of privacy when you've taken us along in your marriage for the last 15 years and now you want privacy. And also, here's some tea, guys. Allegedly, producers have picked up back filming and they're headed to Beverly Hills, and they did this in Atlanta, and I believe it. When Drew Sidor and her husband, what was his name, Ralph, when they filed 3 days after filming wrapped, you know what production said? Not today, alimony. Not today, child support. We're gonna be there. 3 days production was back filming everything going on with Drew Sidor, because that's how it works. So Kyle and Mauricio filming wrapped. How long is filming wrapped? Not that long, guys. They had a short season anyways. They didn't film that long. And now they're picking back up with production. And I think this really can contest also too the kind of production and editing we might see, because we know that last year they lost a producer, and he was allegedly very close with the Umanskis. Catherine says, I think it's for the ratings. I really think so too, Catherine. Part of it, I really, really do. And that's why I came out. I just did a video. So listen up, guys. I want to wait till we were in a couple of minutes before I talked about this theory. I'm going to do a whole video on it. But Zach commented, he did a video and said that one of his subscribers commented and said, what if Morgan is Kyle's AA sponsor? And I was like, you know what? That kind of actually had crossed my mind a little bit. I'm very like delicate with the issue of like, drugs and alcohol. But let's break this down a little bit, okay? Because first of all, we know that addiction runs in the family, whether it's genetics, whether it's environmental. Kim and Kyle, even though they didn't have the same childhood, they still had the same parent maybe raising them. So maybe it's not genetics all the way. It could be environmental, but the result is you're more prone. You have a tendency to overindulge. And that is what Kim has battled with for a very long time before she even got on the show. And you guys remember how she was on the show. And she looks amazing. Everyone is, of course, rooting for her. But we've also heard rumors about Kathy and how hard she used to like to party and drink and be a socialite. And maybe she overindulged as well. We don't know, because they had so much money. they didn't, you wouldn't know if there was a crack, right? Because we know, what did they find in Paris Hilton's bedroom when that jewelry thief, that jewelry ring, when they were robbing all those houses out in Beverly Hills of the rich people, and they robbed Kathy and Rick's house, and they were in Paris's room? What did they find besides a stripper pole? A bag of white powder. I also think she caught with it once when she got a DUI, or a photographer caught a bag of it in her purse once, I want to say. Like mother, like daughter, like Rena said, like mother, like daughter, from big Kathy to little Kathy to Paris, right? And so it's not crazy to think that Kyle was probably not happy with her edit last year, guys. We talked about it, but I think a lot of people love and respect Kyle, so they don't go hard for her. But she was a little bit of a drunken mess last year, guys. And I said this in my videos. Her actions were not a drunken mess in like a terrible way, a drunken mess in a married woman, you're acting single ATF way. Okay, you're drunk, but you're acting like a single woman. She had like that, it was like a bodysuit with like a sheer black dress over it, and I want to say it's the party that Diana came to, and the Sutton had disclosed about her miscarriages. Kyle was literally, she wasn't doing her usual modest splits. She was literally like on her back, legs in the air, legs spread, eagle, like, oh my gosh. So I think that it could possibly be, did she look back and see what she looked like? And so she decided to stop drinking. And when you stop drinking, what is something that they tell you to do? If you think you have a problem and you stop drinking, they usually tell you to get an AA sponsor, right? Because here's the thing, AA is Alcoholics Anonymous. So a famous person like Kyle Richards is allegedly and should be able to attend an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting anywhere in the United States, whether online or local, and it not be disclosed. It is called the the principles of AA. And one of them is to respect the anonymity of everyone in the room and everything that's said in the room, right? Because you might have somebody in that AA meeting that's feeling like they're going to relapse, right? And so they have to be able to share at the meeting, your secrets keep you sick, resentments keep you sick. You got to share it. You got to talk about it. And if they're in a position where they're uncomfortable or they don't trust the people in the room, then you are kind of risking their sobriety. So, because you need to be able to talk in an AA room. So it's possible that Kyle, instead of attending AA meetings where it puts her in a very vulnerable position, she got an AA sponsor. Someone probably gave her Morgan's name. And therefore, she looked up Morgan and saw that Morgan was a singer, because you have to be a sponsor, right? So if you are an AA sponsor, then that means typically you have been sober for over a year and you've completed the 12 steps of AA. And let me tell you guys another thing while we're on the subject of AA. Kim D last week on Behind the Velvet Rope spoke about Teresa talking in her podcast, because you know that Louis' father is also in sobriety. I think he has about 10 years. He quit drinking when he was 60 years old. He follows the program of AA. It's not just an alcohol program, it's also a character program. There are 12 steps that are, you work the steps one at a time. Because it's some people say that the steps are close to like this when people take steps to enlightenment, but they're to help with your character defects, right? And to help you take accountability for what your part was, because as addicts and people with addiction, tendency to play the victim role, right? So it's really about trying to be accountable. So she got this girl's name. She knows she's a sponsor. The girl's a singer, so she feels like she's safe with her because they're in a safe space, because they're both, in the famous world. She listened to her whole album, right, when she drove up to do her North Pole movie. And then she probably got in touch with her and started working the 12 steps, reading from the big book. But here's like the thing, you are disclosing a lot of information about yourself when you do the 12 steps. That's why you work them with a sponsor. They put women with women and men with men because of the fact they don't want you to have a relationship within the first year of your sobriety. So in the old days, obviously, if they put men with men, women with women, whatever. Make sure that you guys go hit that like button though. Subscribe to my channel, put your notifications on so you guys can stay up to date. What do you guys think? Do you think that Morgan could possibly be her AA sponsor and they're just spending a lot of time together? And again, Kyle working the 12 steps, she would be sharing a lot of information about any sort of wrongdoings that she's done, making amends with people, making amends with her family, taking accountability. And sometimes people they develop an unhealthy codependency on their sponsor, because at first, when you're first getting sober, it's harder at the beginning. So a sponsor may say, you're going to do 90 meetings in 90 days, or you have to call me every single day. So the further along they get, sometimes they can build an unhealthy codependency to their sponsor, right? And their sponsor vice versa, because their sponsor is just as much an addict or an alcoholic as the person that they're sponsoring. They just have more sober time and a little bit more knowledge, maybe. That's all. Let's read some comments. Everyone's saying no, not a sponsor. If you can, we talk about Andy Cohen being interviewed saying there wasn't time to talk about BravoCon because everything led back to Louis hiring a PA. Thank you so much, Yo-Yo. That was exactly what you must have been reading my mind, because my mind like trails off about things. That was exactly my point with the PI. We are private investigators. All of us in this room are private investigators. Like, we all look up and dig up. And some of the people that are Bravo fans are like the best PIs ever. So I definitely think that it was wrong of Andy. Andy wants everything to die down. He wants to make amends with Melissa and Teresa. He is starving them out. Okay. Because if you don't have a paycheck, if you walked into work tomorrow and got laid off, okay, you didn't have no paycheck for 2 months, we're going on, I don't know, however long, you're going to be a little bit more willing to make amends in this situation. And I think that Andy Cohen doing an interview, number one, we never really see Andy Cohen doing an interview. He was in his office, which I thought right away was really strange. I don't know if they were trying to make him look more executive in that interview. And I didn't recognize who was interviewing him. I think it was like OK Magazine. And she brought up New Jersey and basically said New Jersey fans feel wronged. We feel like we got, there was a 3-part reunion and you couldn't find time to put anything in about. And notice he uses the least worst thing that the Gorgas have done out of all of this. The least worst thing they have done was post the pictures with Melissa's family the night before her wedding, right? Because Andy uses that as an example of some of the things we didn't talk about. He didn't say BravoCon directly, or Joe Gorga and the way that he talks to women. He used the least, worst thing that they did, which was the pictures, and then said, oh, it was shady of them, and we just didn't have time to talk about it. That's ridiculous. We had a 3-part reunion. If you had time to ask Rachel Fuda if she's a nanny or not, then you had time to talk about BravoCon, and you had time to talk about their correspondence. Remember, Melissa tried to say that Teresa never spoke to her after the reunion from last year, if you guys remember. And Teresa, the text messages got leaked, and Teresa had indeed fact talked with Melissa several different times during the couple of months that they weren't filming. She even remembered her nephew's birthday, went and bought him like 10 pairs of shoes. She had to mail them to their house because she'd never even been there. Like, yeah. All of that was in the text messages. So everything that Melissa really said this year was untrue. Everything that she said was like untrue. Like, the list is endless. Okay. Let's start with the visitation list. You're a liar. Joe Gorga literally did a confessional and said that he applied to see his sister in prison and he hadn't been accepted yet. And isn't she the one that accepts people? Like, what do you think? You're a liar, and you're taking advantage of the fact that other people watching the show don't exactly understand how the prison system works. And when you hear prison visitation list, it would sound like, oh, you just add your brother to the visitation list. But that's not how it works. It was like a flat out lie. And if you notice, when Melissa is lying, she will just keep saying the same thing over and over and over, right? When she was lying about the visitation list, she just kept saying, you wouldn't put him on the visitation list. You wouldn't put him on the visitation list. You wouldn't put him on the visitation list. Then, guys, if you guys remember, I don't think it was BravoCon. I think it might have been one of Joe Gorga's like stand-up shows. Michael Rappaport was there, and they asked, maybe it was BravoCon, they asked Melissa and Joe, like, what is your, without Teresa incorporated, what is your storyline? And Melissa was stumped. She was stumped. She's like, wait, what do you mean? I don't think I understand the question. So there's like, without Teresa, like, what would your storyline be? Like, and she's like, wait, like a storyline? It was bad, guys. It was so bad. And she doesn't let Joe talk. We know that. She does not let Joe talk. Let's see here. Kyle may have just been a problem drinker. Bravo wants the woman to be drunk. Yes, I completely agree. It's hard not to become a habitual drinker. She should really think about leaving the show, in my opinion. I agree with this comment. We've heard from all of the ladies, including Sonia Morgan, including all of them. These are like women in New York City that are like, you know, supposed to be very, I want to use the word like elite, but elevated, you know, and they get sloshed in New York because Sonia Morgan, all of them had said they start serving us alcohol at like lunch, and we film like 10 hours. Well, they film until they have what they need. And the whole time it's alcohol, 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 right? So they do push it on the women. And we know that. And that's why a lot of people are very protective about Kim Richards coming back, because of how much is pushed on the ladies when it comes to drinking and events. Because now we also have Gina in the Real Housewives of Orange County. She also is not drinking. If you guys remember, she got a DUI a long time ago. I don't know, like 3 or 4 years ago. And I don't know, she didn't show up to court or something crazy, like something dumb. And they were going to arrest her because guess what? You got to go to court. And thankfully, Shannon came through and got her an attorney, and she was able to like turn herself in, set up a court date and such. But yeah, she had a DUI, and I think there was a time where she was drinking and partying pretty heavily too. There is rumors about her ex Matt. He also likes the white powder that was allegedly found in Paris Hilton's room. She might want to think about, yeah, if she wants anything with Mauricio to be private, and she wants to, you know, you guys they're worth, guys, they're worth like $80 million, if not more. When Kyle and Mauricio came on the show, they didn't have shit. She was wearing stuff from Target. She was making fun of people like of what she is now. That's what she used to make fun of, like people that had name brand handbags and Camille Grammer and yada yada yada. Like, they didn't have anything. They were like an average house in Beverly Hills. That's it. And I think that Mauricio wanted to become partner, but Rick wouldn't promote him to partner. Allegedly, that's what sparked Mauricio starting the agency. I cannot confirm nor deny if that's true. I went over what happened with Mauricio and Rick Hilton. I can do that again if you guys are interested. If you're up to date, I will leave it out. Yes, Barbara, they do. Every year since Kyle and Mauricio have been on the show, they have doubled their net worth. I'm not exactly sure how that happens. Like, every single year, doubled. Like, if it was worth 20 million, the next year they were worth 40 million. The next year they were worth 80 million. Like, Google it. It's literally insane. So the fact of the matter is, if Kyle and Mauricio can't live off the money that they've already earned and step back from Bravo and Beverly Hills, we're going to be in your business. Don't post with the woman. What are you thinking? And that takes me back to a lot of your guys' comments. It's all for press. It's got to be press. This has to be press, which circles us right back around to the fact that they want us to stop talking about New Jersey. They want us to stop talking about New Jersey because they want everything to die down on the internet so that Melissa and Teresa will make up at least enough that they can film together. Exactly, Lindsay. That's not quite Marge and the rest of, like he does Trey and Jen. Yeah, he was he was very rude to Jennifer. I like Jennifer. She doesn't say anything poorly about Bravo and Andy or her experience, which I understand. And even if bloggers come out in her defense, she will ask them to quietly die down, and she will recoup by coming out with another, statement that basically says she's not upset with Bravo or Andy, and she's always had such great experiences with them. But if you guys remember and you listened to the All About the Truth podcast with Ziggy said it's not Bravo, it's not Andy. They called her. She said they would have done anything that she wanted or needed to make her comfortable to stay on the show. But the fact of the matter was, it was production that was the problem. And Bravo doesn't have anything to do with those day-to-day transactions. They probably broker it out to production, to Evolution, who brokers it out to Cyrus, who brokers it out to ITV. And so we have to remember that when we're saying like the show is sick and that they're pushing alcohol on the women and that they refilm scenes and that the producers are in the women's ear, we're not talking bad about Bravo, and we're not necessarily talking bad about Andy, because they don't deal with the production. I'm not sure the exact process. If anyone knows, please comment. But I'm thinking it's like production puts everything together and gives it, to them, and they can alter it if they like. I just seen a deep dive into her business, and I think he's going to be in trouble pretty soon. Mainly alleged scams against his clients and fellow realtors. Thank you for mentioning this again, Yo-Yo. We must be thinking about the same things, because I wanted to make sure that I mentioned to you guys about the $30 million lawsuit that we saw filed allegedly on Mauricio and the agency when there was a property in Malibu that was confiscated by the Nigerian government. It was a government. And basically, allegedly, Mauricio and his friend Mauricio, they sold the house to someone that they knew for like $3 million and let the government think that that's all the home was worth. And then they waited like 2 years and turned around and sold it for $33 million. And allegedly, the government got wind of it. And so they were suing Mauricio and the agency. Mauricio's name pops up in a lot of documents that it shouldn't pop up in. I'm just going to leave it at that. But I do want to remind you guys that he was also named in the lawsuit that was filed as it pertains to, are you ready? As it pertains to the Spelling Mansion. Do you guys remember when there was the Spelling Mansion there was a lawsuit filed about Tom Girardi and how he had put money in this account, and they basically sold the house to a private owner LLC, which likely was Tom Girardi and Erica, and these people were all named in the suit. Rick Hilton was named in it, and Mauricio was named in it as well. So guys, we have to remember the agency is, they have them all over. Like, they have enough money to step back and not have to ever deal with Bravo or production or the limelight again. And not to mention the fact that now Mauricio has his own thing on Netflix, his own show on Netflix about real estate. And we didn't see Kyle at all. And that said something to me, because typically they're selling us the family dynamic. Typically Kyle and Mauricio are really great at selling us, we are a happy family. We've been, just happiness, love, everything. Everything is perfect. The house is perfect. The girls are perfect. The Christmas cards are perfect. Everything is very, very perfect, right? And buying Beverly Hills, to not have Kyle, who is a silent producer on Beverly Hills, she's, a reality star, and to not have her at all on the Netflix series was strange. I thought it was very strange. And secondly, I think that now that the girls have an opportunity, like, they're creating so much money and generational wealth over there, it's insane. But the fact of the matter stands that all of her girls are basically going to be taken care of. They have the agency. I think 2 of them are real estate agents that work there. It'll be passed down to them. And also, they're on TV. They're getting the best of, they're all eating, right? They're all getting a piece of the bread. So Kyle could definitely step down. She could be a friend of. She could just pop in when she wanted to. She makes enough money. Yes, the Spelling Mansion is being investigated. I'm shocked that the Girardis and Mo are said to have worked together. These people are thick as thieves, like the Gorgas and Frank, in my opinion. Listen, I agree with this comment again, guys. Yo-yo, they were named it. What they were trying to flip it. They were trying to quietly buy it for like the 30, whatever it was. It was something crazy. It was literally the biggest mansion, I think, that was like even built in Beverly, something notorious. And Candy was always in competition with Kathy because they were neighbors for Christmas decorations, and all that jazz, right? And Candy, if you've ever watched Candy Spelling on anything, she's a little, I don't want to use the word tacky, but that's the word I'm going to use, right? Kathy pulls the rich bitch a little bit better than misspelling, but that's just my opinion. So she like always had like gaudy decorations a little bit more. Kathy's decorations, I think, were a little bit more classier. But anyways, she was tired to live in that big old mansion by herself with all those dogs. Just think about how much it costs to keep up that mansion. Regardless, she's a billionaire. And so she sold it and moved to a condo. But she sold it to a woman who I think was government-ish, kind of, from another country. She came over to the mansion. She redid the whole entire thing and then sold it to a company that sold it to a private LLC. So, also, there was like a $3,000 water bill there because nobody's living there and nobody knows who owns it. So nobody's paying for the utilities. Oh my gosh, thank you, Barbara. This is Beverly Beach. You can call me Dorito Kensley. I actually got some Beverly Beach wear, and I'm gonna give it away to one of you guys. I just haven't decided how I'm gonna do it. I got like a couple of different things because I want to start like sending you guys stuff and letting you win stuff. Right? Don't you guys? Does it? I'm sure you guys would want to win a Beverly Beach hat. Who wouldn't want to win this? I will send it to you. No, I did get a cute Beverly Beach towel though. It's like black and white and striped. I'll just show it to you guys. That I'm gonna give away, and then I'm gonna give away either a hat or like a little pouch thing. It's super cute. So anyways, guys, getting back to the topic at hand. I want to discuss the fact that Teddi Mellencamp was also present with Kyle Richards when she attended the event for Morgan, who is the alleged girlfriend. The event took place in LA. And again, Morgan has a brokenhearted ex-girlfriend who is on TikTok sharing her feelings. And back in April, she shared several TikTok videos, and she was frustrated and upset about she wanted to attend the event to see Morgan, but she knew that the other person would be there. And then the next day she cries and she was like, why do we even, she's like, I went online and looked, and of course she was there, referring to allegedly Kyle Richards. And she was like, why do we do that to ourselves? Like, I'm so brokenhearted. And she also made comments like, Morgan can like and share all the Housewives posts, but she won't ever like or share any of mine, and I'm her ex-girlfriend. Yeah, so she posted all of those and people saved those. Kudos to whoever figured out that was Morgan's ex-girlfriend, because I feel like she's loose lips. Okay, if I'm gonna get at her, actually I'm gonna get at her. I'm not gonna tell any of you guys because somebody else is gonna beat me to it. I know some of you guys take my tea to other channels and shit, and that's okay. That's okay, but I would appreciate if you let them know where you got it for a little shout out. That's all. Just shout me out a little bit. Housewife historian, Lindsay the housewife historian, whatever. Because sometimes I'll be hearing people, I'm like, dang, that sounds just like what I said. Yes, Mauricio and his partners. Yes, exactly. Illegal, and allegedly they purchased the home and turned around and sold it for a ton of money. Absolutely. That's exactly what they are doing. They have people, of course, like Mauricio can't sell it to like a family member and then turn around and sell it for the millions. They have other businessmen that do this stuff all the time. All the time. And imagine if Mauricio is doing, like, you shouldn't, isn't it like you don't shit where you live or something? Like, you don't like sell things out of your house. Like, you don't do dirt in your hometown, in your turf, on your area where you live and you work and whatever. If you're doing like things that are illegal, okay? Like, you typically don't do them around where, if you have all these different agencies, the deal must have just been so good that he just got greedy, because it was literally for like millions, over 20 million for sure. So I think it was maybe just like an easy lick for him, and he got greedy and he took it, and that's going to be probably what exposes him. You know what I mean? Like, you can't do that. Like, the audacity of the man to think that he can take a $35 million Malibu mansion and sell it to his friend, also named Mauricio, for like 3 million, and then wait 18 months or 24 months and turn around and sell it for 35 million. Like, that is pretty ballsy. That tells me you've done it before lots of times, because you're comfortable doing it and you already got people lined up to take care of it. Let's not forget, guys, look at all the mortgage fraud that we have speculated about that went down in New Jersey, right? We know Teresa and Joe, there was a lot of issues with mortgage before the housing market crashed. Also, you know, there were allegations that their transactions weren't always exactly legal. So this might be another one of those things that rich people do. And yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, I didn't mean it like that. Okay, says, I think 2 decades into the Housewives franchise, it's naive to think Bravo has zero clue about production tactics. I completely agree with you. Okay, I think what happens is Bravo plays the good cop and production plays the bad cop, and they play off of each other, right? So Bravo probably, Andy's probably like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that production, yada, yada, yada. Like, I can't believe they would do that. We're going to have to talk to them. We're going to have to da, 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 da. Like, I feel like you're exactly right. They know what tactics production are using. They don't care. And Evolution knows they don't care, because they just want the ratings. Like, look at New Jersey for 1 second. They got that little 16-year-old, the son of Rachel and John. We don't really know, their last names have changed a couple of different times. We're not going to get into that, but he was making statements to Page 6 about his mom and how she was a stranger to him. He's like not even 16 years old. That's insane to me. Why is he talking to Page 6? Can someone riddle me that in the chat? Why is Rachel and John's 15-year-old talking to Page 6 about his mom? Does anyone else think that's ridiculous? I thought the children stayed out of it. I thought that the children weren't up for discussion. I actually heard something really interesting that I want to share with you guys. They said that the housewives get 2 things that they will not discuss. And we know Erica does not discuss her son, right? She does. We don't hear about her son at all. And he's a grown ass cop in LA. People have caught him on film. He was driving around allegedly with like a Mercedes Benz with an expired 90-day tag and tinted windows that were way, way, way too dark. And she doesn't ever speak of him, ever. And we know Lisa Rinna, she never would speak of her relationship with Harry. And I think that Kyle is the same exact way. She would not touch her relationship with Mauricio. And so that's why when she made this statement, it really shocked people. Very shocking. And it's so timed though, guys. Like the timing. It is, there's no way that's coincidental. No way it's coincidental that it happened on the day before the 4th. They kind of mixed it in the whole Whitney's wedding thing, because her wedding was like 2 weekends before the 4th. And they need to build up momentum for the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, because they know they must not have had a lot, you know, of stuff to use for the season, because I feel like they're really pulling a Hail Mary here. Like they're pulling a big card by exposing this. And Mauricio talked on the 2 T's in a Pod podcast. I told you guys that he spoke that this was going to be part of the agenda for the season, but he legit like completely answered the questions and acted exactly like he would during any other interview. And so that's why nobody's suspicions were sparked. But here's something else I want to tell you guys, and this is very interesting, and this is a really good point. What has Teddi Mellencamp been doing the whole time that she's been hosting the Two T's in a Pod podcast? Somebody riddle me what she has been doing as it pertains to Beverly Hills. Sticking up for Kyle, being Kyle's mouthpiece, sticking up for Kyle some more, defending Kyle, letting us know what Kyle thinks, how Kyle feels, filming from Kyle's birthday party in Mexico. But we're not hearing her defend her about Morgan. We're not hearing her say, don't be out here speculating about people's, preference. We don't hear her saying that. Why? We hear you talking about everything else as it pertains to Kyle in the press. You literally told everyone that you were with her when she was first seen without her wedding ring leaving the yoga studio. But why aren't we hearing about Morgan? Why aren't we hearing about how Kyle is a dedicated and loyal and loving wife to Mauricio of 27 years? And how dare us bloggers and viewers speculate about their long, solid 27-year marriage? That's what I would be expecting to hear from Teddi. Some bullshit morals and values and standards that she don't hold her own self to, that she acts like she does. I don't know. I'm just saying, guys, if it were not true, trust and believe that Teddi Mellencamp would be singing from the Two T's in the podcast from the top of her lungs, standing on the principle of what's right and wrong in a marriage, letting us know that Kyle did not step out on her man and that she ain't been standing by her man for the last 27 years. I'm just saying. That's my opinion. Thank you, KRH. Great point. Erica flipped all the way out when they were in, where were they in? Weren't they in, they weren't in Russia, but she dressed up like a Russian dominatrix or something one night. So weird. It was a weird look. But yeah, she flipped all the way out about her son, and it was very confusing because we didn't really understand, because we have never seen her son. We've seen like maybe an old picture of him when she was young with him. But that's really it. And she did flip out about him. So I do think there are things that they don't touch with each other. Teddi should bring Kyle on and interrogate her like she did with Teresa about her food with Melissa. I love that idea. That is a great idea. I think she should too. I mean, she had her on for her birthday in Mexico. They filmed from Teddi's private Mexican party where she flew out 6 of her closest friends, including Morgan, to some place in Mexico where they spent 3 or 4 days kid-free, soaking up the sun in an amazing resort, right? It's not bad to be Kyle Richards' friend. I would be Kyle Richards' friend. The perks alone, I would be like, yes, honey, you are loyal. What do you want me? That's why they have so many yes people around them, because I don't know. I just feel like they do stuff for me. So they're like, oh, yes, Kyle, you're exactly right. Oh, yeah. Whatever Kyle thinks is right. If that day she feels like she's an amazing wife and she wants to be with Mauricio and be a happy family, but oh, yeah, Kyle, absolutely. And then the next day she's feeling a little froggy, a little more youthful. And Morgan is awakening parts in her that she didn't even know needed awakening. Do AA sponsors get matching tattoos to go to all the person's concerts? Hi, Jamie. Typically, you do not see AA sponsors and sponsees getting matching tattoos. Definitely not something that's part of the big book or suggested or necessary for part of the program. I did hear, though, that the tattoo thing wasn't correct. I don't know if it's true. I'm just saying, the blogger who did a video about it, the one on TikTok with the blonde hair, she came out and corrected herself and said that the tattoo was actually Roman numerals and that Kyle has had it for a while. I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know if it's the same tattoo or not, but allegedly. All allegedly, of course. The attending every concert, I know that is a little bit crazy. And it's so funny, Jamie, because I literally remember when Kyle met Morgan in person, not because of the single post, but she was posting on her story the music, and she was in the front row dancing, and either my intuition or something made a mental note, something seems amok here, and I don't know what it is. And I think that's why. I think that there was an attraction. I think that Morgan was, I think that Kyle reached out to someone. They said, call Morgan. She's an AA sponsor. She can help you. You know, she doesn't have to be your sponsee, but she can be a support person that you call when you feel like you want to drink, or she can be someone that you can work the 12 steps with, because you can't work the 12 steps by yourself. Right. And so I think that initially probably sparked everything. And then in return, with like sharing in your 12 steps, you're sharing a lot about yourself. You're sharing some of your deepest, darkest things. And so naturally it was going to develop a connection, a friendship, okay, between two people. I don't know. I think it's really ratings. I really hate to tell you guys that. I'm sorry. I don't want to. Maybe they are messing around. Maybe they like mess around here and there. Um, from my experience in prison, because I've seen a lot of straight girls, you know, change their likes while, they were incarcerated. But it's always was more of because of like the relationship, emotional aspect of it. It wasn't the physical, if that makes sense. So I think sometimes people, like, they don't even encounter the flesh. They don't even look at your flesh. Like, they're looking at your spirit and your personality and all of that. And so, I don't know. I think that there's something there, but I also think that it is for ratings, and it is for people to get pumped up about Beverly Hills. But nobody was talking about Beverly Hills. They were posting a little bit about it, but like, we don't really care about Erica going and delivering balloons to everywhere. I don't even really care about her thing in Vegas, like her residency or whatever. That I could take it or leave it. She's lost a bunch of weight, definitely Ozempic. She doesn't care. She's gonna rep it. She'll probably be promoting it before you know it. I don't really care about seeing her. Like, I would rather see her like going and working at the food mission, or giving back in her community for like school supplies or shoes or whatever it is. I would like to see Erica giving back to her community instead of, I don't know, living in this condo that's owned by these lawyers that didn't want their name public because they're basically taking blood money. I'm sure that Tom probably paid them in advance. That was probably something that Erica and Tom and them had worked out, knowing that all of this was going to crash, knowing that things were going to go bad. And so took care of her $11,000 a month rent, I think, something like that, for a long time. And it was the blood money of the victims that was used. And so those attorneys don't want their names public. Jamie said, I don't care if Louis hired a PA. Margaret has the dirt, so go for it, Louis. I completely agree, Jamie. That's like what we were talking about. Like, I feel frustrated. I feel frustrated with Andy Cohen that he's like, oh, we spend so much time on the PI. Why? We are all private investors. Don't you know your fans? Like, know your audience. We are all private investigators. We know more dirt than the people that vetted them at Bravo. Who found the racist tweets from the girl in Utah? What was her name? I can't remember her name. They weren't tweets, they were on her Facebook, and they were only a year old. So how the hell do you guys hire a housewife who has racist memes posted on her Facebook public less than a year ago? Did you vet these people at all? You didn't vet them at all? Not even a little bit? Like, come on now. We're all private investigators. We dig up stuff on people that's on the show. They know that's part of the gig. It's part of the job. And I don't know. Kyle asking for privacy right now is kind of crazy, because everything else has been so public. And it's so funny because Bethany Frankel went on a rant talking about Kim and Croy, saying, like, you guys chose to be on The Real Housewives, and you guys put your whole life and your wedding and your relationship out there, and you've taken us along for the ride from marriage to the children to the perfect house to all of this stuff. And now when it's time for you to get divorced, you want us to step away, but you've taken us this whole time on this whole ride. And she's like, it doesn't work that way. And somebody took that and placed it on top of Kyle's comment about asking for privacy right now. And it seemed very fitting, because it's like, if you're going to be like that with Kim, then you got to be like that with Kyle. If not, what the hell? Andy and production don't like losing control of Teresa. Louis won't let them abuse her any longer. I definitely think Louis is a contributing factor. Not as big as we had originally thought. Those allegations that were coming out were so serious that I think that if there was any sort of legality or validity to them, we would have known a long time ago. So I don't think that Louis is going to, I think he protects Teresa, of course, but hopefully he's not overprotecting her either, because here's the fact of the matter. Just because he's the man, Teresa been doing this for a long ass time. She basically started the franchise, right? We know that sometimes Teresa doesn't say her words correctly, she can't always express, but she's not a stupid woman. She's actually very smart. And I think that she probably has a very, very, very good understanding of how things work with Bravo, with the contract, with everything. And honestly, it would be a good time for Louis to take a seat and let Teresa do her thing with Bravo, whatever that may be, if that means reconciliation. And I think that he'll do that. I think that he would let Teresa and Joe go into a room and hash it out and come out hugging each other and loving each other again. But Melissa will simply not let that happen. Even at the reunion, guys, she wouldn't even let Joe talk. Even the other castmates were saying, damn, Melissa, you're not, let them talk. They're siblings. You're not. So it's I think that Louis would take a back seat, let Teresa do her thing, negotiate with Bravo. If that means filming with Melissa, it means filming with Melissa, and then let him take more of a backseat. I think that the audience is tired of seeing the husbands. They don't want to see the husbands anymore. We want to see more Housewives stuff. Don't put in fillers with the husbands. We don't mind a pot party here and there, right? But come on now. We didn't see anything from Joe and Marge. I'm not knocking Marge. I'm not knocking her kids or whatever. I'm saying that we didn't see anything. Okay. Nothing. They're using Lexi and her son for a storyline, for God's sake. What is Bravo doing? You got Rachel. You're asking her about a nanny, and you can't put more into the reunion about BravoCon or about the Instagram post, because you got to ask Rachel about a nanny and Fuda going at Louis about something that didn't even freaking happen. Come on, do better, Bravo. 3 parts. You had 3 parts. You give us 20 minutes of commercials for every hour of for every 43 minutes of Housewives, you're getting 22 minutes of commercials. So it's come on, give us a little bit more better than that. And that's why I hate to see Miami going to Bravo, because Miami, when they were on Peacock, when they launched, they dropped 3 episodes right off rip. They're not leaving the breadcrumbs that Bravo does. Bravo's always leaving us hanging. They're always just like with Vanderpump Rules. Look at how dirty they did fans for Vanderpump Rules, that there was going to be this huge, big surprise that nobody knew about. And what was it? Nobody knows. Because it didn't exist, okay? It didn't exist. I'm telling you guys, this is press, honey. Press. I do think that they're having issues, but I think that Andy Cohen is happy and going home and doing cartwheels that Kyle and Mauricio are on the verge of separation. I think that truly they've been living separate lives for a very, very, very long time. There's so many contributing factors, guys. Again, let's think about the fact that they go and attend a wedding for Kim's daughter. Kathy and Rick and her whole family are there. They hate Mauricio. They hate him. They don't even deny it. They're like, yep, we hate him. He basically, became our competitor after we took him in, showed him the ropes, made connections at Hilton and Highland, and then goes out and makes his own agency. We hate him. So yes, in their mind, they're like, oh, Kyle, Morgan is so nice. You just seem you're in a different light. You're a different person when you're around Morgan. She really brings out the best in you, Kyle. Things like that. Not necessarily coming out and telling her, but planting the seed. I know some of you know how families can be, right? Right? So think about that for a second. Think about that wedding. Think about who was in attendance. All the Hiltons. Kathy, Rick, their kids, their spouses, their kids. They don't like Mauricio. They literally uninvited him and his 2 daughters to Nikki's wedding. wedding. They let Portia come because she was a flower girl. And Farrah because she had a different dad. Exactly. Can we just quickly, I don't want to start a bad narrative, guys. Let me put my sunglasses on for this. I don't want to start a bad narrative. Please tell me that you guys know the Reddit comments. Please tell me that you guys know the Reddit comments that I'm talking about that pertain to Mauricio and Farrah. Because I think that that's what Kyle was saying when she said, don't start a salacious narrative. I don't think it was, don't tell people I'm dating Morgan. I think it was, don't talk about the Reddit rumors about Farrah and Mauricio. Jamie, I know you gotta know what I'm talking about. Jamie knows everything. Jamie said makes for great TV. Jennifer makes for great TV. Absolutely, Jennifer. I love Jennifer. That's what I said. I don't know if you heard me earlier. I'm like, Bravo does her dirty, and like she doesn't really, she just keeps it pushing, and she doesn't want us like, not that like we're sticking up for her necessarily, but like saying we feel like he was disrespectful to her, and then she will come out and say like every experience she's had with Andy Cohen has been good and respectful, and that's her boss. So we can't fault her for that. Hopefully, this year after everything that happened, and you'll get his shit together. I don't know. I don't know if you guys think that talking about keeping New Jersey in the headlines is going to like help. I get Melissa gone, because I'm assuming that they really just want to bring Melissa and Teresa back together, and that's why they want everything to die down. Andy Cohen said that. He literally said like, until everything dies down, like we can't do anything. So you guys are like kind of faulting us. Okay, sorry that we give you guys all this free press, and in return we get stalked and doxxed and hacked from Eminem's teams, right? Like, damn. How about some free Bravo content or like a thank you? The audacity of these men, I swear. The audacity of Mo, the audacity of Andy Cohen. It's like, you know what, Andy, if you're coming back to like acknowledge what you didn't acknowledge at the reunion, which is what everyone wants you to just freaking acknowledge, you and Joe Gorga should like do a little confessional together, and you could interview him and ask him questions about how he felt and his anger, and like maybe Joe could like go take some anger management classes, and they could film it. Maybe we'll make a little bit of money on the side, It'd be like a Teresa checks in, but like with Joe Gorga going to anger management. They film people going to like therapy and stuff. That would be a storyline. Hello, you're welcome, Melissa and Joe. God. That's allegedly true what Mauricio and his partner did. Yes, the spelling mansion too. I'm talking about Reddit though. I'm talking about Reddit, and I'm talking about anybody who watched Beverly Hills like from the start, like literally all of the episodes before, like you followed it regularly, not just like the clips, but actually like used to watch the actual episodes. I need those ladies to come forward. Please step forward. All the ladies that sat through all of the episodes, not the highlights, even in the old days, seasons 1, 2, 3. I need y'all to come forward, because there were scenes between stepfather and stepdaughter that people were speculating that they felt like there was something there in those scenes with those two people. I think that's what Kyle was saying when she said, don't start salacious narratives, because I don't think Morgan is do you know what I'm talking about then between Farrah and Mo? Have you heard those Reddit rumors before? They were out a long time ago, and it was probably, I don't know, how many seasons are we in Beverly Hills? 12 or 13? I want to say around 5 or 6 maybe. Yeah. So that would be, and if you guys noticed, she posted with just Mauricio, and she tagged just Mauricio, not her mom. I thought that was a little strange. Catherine said, I remember that for a couple of seasons ago being mentioned. Yes, there was like people speculating that they felt, I don't know if they were like it wasn't necessarily, I don't think, somebody coming out and like disclosing it. I don't think so. I think it was more like there was a rumor and they posted it, and then people underneath was like commenting and saying that they felt like in some scenes between the family and between the two of them that there was some sort of like tension, if you know what I'm saying. And she is very beautiful. Farrah was a baby, I think, when they got married, like 2 or 3 years old. And she is into real estate and works at the agency. And she just got engaged, but she's, well, not got, they've been engaged for a couple of years now, right, guys? Wasn't that the comment that was made about Farrah being the other younger woman? No, that was actually Portia. So Portia was, she's much younger than the other girls. And when there were headlines about Mauricio being with a younger woman, LVP was over at the house, and in came Mauricio and Portia. They were coming in from like the store or something, and LVP made a joke and said, "Oh, this must be the younger woman that all the paparazzi and people are saying that you're with." And that was the comment that made Kyle very, very mad. So nope, it was actually Portia. She could be mad at her mom like most daughters. Yes, absolutely. I didn't know if anyone was around for the Reddit, and that's absolutely for sure. And they're very close. She works at the agency. She is a real estate attorney. She's part of the show. I don't know. I wonder if that's why Kim said, let's not talk about the husbands. Rena, was it a blanket statement? That's a good question. Because Kyle, where did Kyle, remember when that happened? And everyone said Kyle didn't like stick around and be there for Kim. Remember, she ran out of the place. There was like a back door. She ran out of it. Maybe it was a blanket statement. Maybe Kyle was defending Rena and Rena was defending Kyle, as in like, because neither one of us want to talk about our husbands. So we'll both look out for each other in other situations so that, we won't let anyone talk about my husband or your husband when I'm around and when you're around. And then that way that should kill it. People make comments about Mauricio and Portia's pic a few years ago. Yes, you're right, Nia. There were comments about a picture of Portia, and he was on the bed. He was on the bed. The bed was made, and they were dressed, but the photos did seem a little bit like, I don't know. They were a little bit, I don't even know if I want to use the word unconventional, but a little bit, they felt a little weird. Which I don't know, because sometimes like when you're a photographer and you get creative, like I know with my daughter, I did newborn pictures with her, and like I think I only had like her bottoms on, or her bottoms wrapped, and she was on her back, and I didn't think about like a chestless baby, but nowadays you have to think about that stuff. And I posted it. I take all that stuff down after I saw this video of this man that stalked this little girl all the way to her preschool orientation, and he tried to sign up as her dad and go in there and kidnap her, and he got all of the information from Facebook. He was following the family, got obsessed with the daughter. The school was on Facebook. The orientation was listed. Yeah. So that shit happens. So sometimes I think when you're a photographer and you are trying to like tap into your creative side, you might not make, like, you might just, I don't know, like I didn't think that looked that way until somebody pointed out to me, and then I was like, sketch. So I don't know. The pictures, there was more than just one, and they did seem uncomfortable because Portia's like, how old now, guys? She's in junior high, I want to say, at this point. She has 3 older sisters, so I'm sure that you guys can imagine how she likely probably dresses and acts. I'm sure she's very mature for her age. I'm sure that she, has the best of the best. But yeah, there's been a lot of speculation around there. And then, of course, there was the book that Mauricio was in next to Eddie Murphy. And so I'm sure that that's going to rear its ugly head soon as well. Just probably waiting. TikTok. Also, don't forget that Mauricio wrote a book. He just came out with it in April or May. I think that's why he actually went on the 2 T's in a Pod podcast, because he was doing it to promote his book. So, again, could we be promoting his book? I don't know. I told you guys that when he promoted his book and there were literally like 2,300 comments, that he replied to one pretty young thing that had like 15 Facebook pictures. or I'm sorry, 15 Instagram pictures. That's it, only 15, and they were like all a little bit seductive. I was like, damn, that's strange, Mauricio. Like, you shouldn't even have done that. Nobody caught it. I caught it. And I probably had screenshots somewhere, but I accidentally delete all of my stuff sometimes on accident. So I might look for those for you guys, though. I'm trying to go through my pictures. I'm about to go on vacation. I don't want my phone running out of storage. I don't want to have too many pictures on it. So I'm trying to get my life together before I go on vacation. I'm setting all my pictures to Shutterfly, and I'm going to be posting a lot because I'm going to be going through them. So hopefully, I'm sure I'll find some good stuff that I haven't shared with you guys before, because sometimes I'll save it and then I forget that I even have it. So, but make sure you guys are commenting. Let me know what you think. I'm going to wrap this up, guys. We talked a lot. We covered a lot of things. Like I said, I don't care if you guys share my tea. That's what I'm here for. But if you could just give me a shout out, if you do, that would be so awesome. But make sure you guys hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, turn your notifications on, because guess what? I run all of my tea through my YouTube first. Okay, I don't put anything on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, nothing until I've already taken it to YouTube, if it's tea or something that you haven't heard anywhere else. So that's why you got to subscribe and put your notifications on. And hitting the like button is a great free way to help my channel. All right, guys, stay tuned for more Beverly Beach attire. Let's see if you guys can see it. It's cute, huh? It's Beverly Beach by Dorito. And I got, like I said, I got some, oh, it has like a little rim on it. It feels quality. I'm going to be honest with you. It doesn't feel cheap. I don't really like this bow up here. But it's still cute. Yeah, I'll take it. So stay tuned, guys, because I'm going to be giving away some Beverly Beach towels and attire for some games. And make sure you subscribe. Have a great day. Thank you, Yo-Yo, for moderating, by the way. Everyone, thank Yo-Yo. She's been moderating for me, and I appreciate her so much. Thank you. Bye, guys.